Hello, my Flosstube friends. It's time for another episode. And it's time for another episode of my fun Friday Flosstube update. I am Annie, Joy-Filled Stitcher, both here on YouTube and over on Instagram. So come check me out over there as well. And today is Flosstube number 54, and it is Friday, May the 29th. We have reached pretty much the end of May and the end of Maynia. Sad face. My Maynia actually ended May 23rd, but I kept working on a few of my Maynia pieces this week, and I will show those when I get to the stitchy things. So, if you have reached this channel, it's a channel about cross stitch. This is a video about cross stitch, and this is going to be, I hope, not too lengthy one. I'm going to try not to be super chatty, but this is going to be a weekly update slash Maynia update. So kind of a where did we get during Maynia this month, and my overall thoughts on this quarantine-ania that we had. I have been on Flosstube for about a year. If you are new here, I'll give you a brief gist about myself. I'm Annie. I've been on Flosstube just over a year. I had my 1-year Flosstube anniversary last week, not this previous, but the previous week, the 19th. And I have been stitching off and on for about 24 years. I learned at 16, my aunt taught me, and I have come very far in my stitching. I have many other hobbies, includes general sewing, quilting. In fact, I want to get back into quilting, knitting from time to time, but cross stitch has been the thing that I come back to time and time again. So, I hope everybody has had a great week. This week has been interesting. It's been interesting. Yeah. Anxiety reared its ugly head like nobody's business this week. And we're getting through. We're getting through over here. We're finding ways. I say we like I have multiple personalities. Trying to find ways to get through the moments, the anxious moments, the panicky moments. I'm not sure what triggered it this week, but I am happy to have some tools that seem to help with that. And one of those being my getting to chat with you here. So one thing I did this week that I thought was fun, I have not done in a really long time, and it was helpful, is I am tired of looking at my toes not having polish on them. First world problems, I know, but usually in the spring, you know, after having worn wool socks and boots all winter, one of my most favorite things to do is to head around spring break time and get my nails done. Get a good pedicure, like soak them in the hot, get the hot stone wrap, like the whole nine. Love it. And I try to keep up with them throughout the summer because I wear sandals all the time. Well, clearly that is not how our world is situated right now. And so I was kind of waiting to see how I felt when salons did start opening. And some of our hair salons and nail salons here started, and I'm in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, I'm in Fort Worth specifically, started opening around about between the 8th and 16th of May. I don't go get my hair done. I occasionally will get a cut. I usually get it cut, chopped, and then I let it grow. Then I chop it, and then it grow. Very low maintenance in that respect. I don't wear makeup on a daily basis, only special occasion. But the one thing that I do is I get my pedicures, and I don't really do them come about October when I start wearing boots. Most of the time I don't get them done. So I'm not ready to go into a salon yet and get a pedicure. Part of the process of a pedicure is the relaxation aspect. Wearing a mask for me is not relaxing right now. I'm hoping it becomes more so, because not relaxing, but the norm, because I'm probably gonna have to wear them 5 days a week all next year. I am a teacher. I am an elementary teacher. So I pulled out my Color Street. I have a rather large collection of Color Street nails, and after one of my showers I got my Mr. Pumice, and I pumiced my feet and scrubbed them and got some of the dead skin off. It's really gross. If you don't like feet, I am so sorry. But anyway, I attempted a Color Street pedicure, and it turned out okay. It doesn't look like I got them done at the salon, but I have pink toes now. They actually match my nails. So I went ahead and put them on my nails. And then, of course, I put my nails on, and then Joy-Filled Little One is like, I want my fun. So she picked a set. We have a couple of sets of the petite size, and hers were this purple like ombre sparkle. And so she did those on all of her nails, and then we had a couple extra strips, one of them being big enough for an accent nail. So I did mine with the purple. And then of course she goes, can I have my accent nail be the pink of yours? Because I had some left over. So we made that happen. So we have alternating nails. It was a little something that brought joy to me this week, and I needed that. Stitching was hit or miss. I was gangbusters over the weekend. I had my last Maynias start on Saturday. And then I moved into doing some of my monthly projects, like my monthly commitment projects. And Monday hit, and I stitched a little bit, but I was doing kind of some other stuff. And then Tuesday, I stitched a little bit. And then Wednesday, Thursday were very low stitching total. And then today I've stitched a tiny bit, but I do have plans to stitch later on. So somehow in all of that though, I ended up with 2 finishes. One is a finish of a monthly item, and then one is a pretty big finish for me that I'm excited to share. I have some whips I worked on, and then like I said, I'm going to go through and show you my Maynia, what all I did in Maynia. And some of those I have pulled out and put in more since the last time you saw them. And I will try to figure that out. So I did say that since this is my Maynia update video, that I would go ahead and pick who is going to get my 1-year Flosstubersary prize giveaway sharing of things. Which this was specific to, it was my video for my 1-year Flosstubersary video. I started this on this day, and I purchased an extra copy of the chart in the floss pack to share with one of you. So it's All Joys for Thine, Blackbird Designs, and it comes with the floss pack, Classic Colorworks and Weeks Dye Works, and I will be sending this to whoever's comment gets picked. Now I did say specifically that you had to be a subscriber, that you needed to be 18 years old so I could legally have your address. It could be anywhere in the world. And that you needed to say, I want to stitch Joy. And the reason why I say that is a lot of times the comments will put in Joy-Filled Stitcher, or will put in, or somebody will say, your videos bring me so much joy. That's awesome. And I love those comments, but I really need to know that you want this chart. So I went ahead and I'm going to do the, let me turn it this way maybe. The YouTube comment picker. So I put in the, I put in the URL for that video. I filtered by the specific text of joy, and there were 189 commenters and 182 comments. I don't know what the disparity between that is, but let's pick somebody that's going to get to stitch this. Let's see. And the winner is Gigi Stitches, and Gigi Stitches says, happy Flosstubersary. I would love to stitch Joy. So Gigi Stitches, if you happen to watch this, I hope you do, because normally if you subscribe, you watch rather frequently. If you happen to watch this and I have not yet reached out to you to your original comment, you are welcome to send me an email. My email is in the description box below. It's never usually there before Saturday morning, but it's joy.phil.stitcher@gmail.com. So you're welcome to do that as well. And then I will comment to your comment just in case you don't watch this right by gosh when it comes up, because I know I'm actually almost caught up on Flosstube. I say that, but there's been so many videos that were added in the last week. Couple of my fave people had Flosstubeversaries. One was Erin 2 Martini Stitcher. I know I talked about it previous. Hers was, I think, the 17th, so right before mine. And then this past week, my BFF, Steph, and her precious mama, who's also my BFF, Pam, had their Flosstube anniversary. Their 3 years on Flosstube anniversary. And I shouted them out because they bring me exceedingly great amounts of joy each and every week. Without fail, I watch their videos. I laugh. I've cried. Truly, they are like a sister that I've never had and an extra little mama So I hope that's okay, because I think we're kind of cool like that. And I cannot wait until 2021 at StitchCon, because the hugs are going to be real. And I know I talked about that in my video last week. And Jenny, here's your hug. Jenny said she wanted a hug, like Becca and Pam and stuff. And here's to anybody else. Here's a hug for anybody else. Big hugs. So everybody got their big hugs this week. Everybody needs a hug every now and again. So I think I'm trying to figure out where to go next, because we've talked about giveaway to GG Stitches. And what's interesting is that when my daughter was in utero, before she was born, I said I was going to call her Gigi. Like, that was going to be her nickname. That was all I was ever going to call her. Not one day, not one time have I called that child by the nickname I said I was going to. Crazy. Crazy. But you know what? Her name fits her. And so she will continue to go by her name. All right, so let's dive into some other stitchy adjacent things, okay? If you follow me on Instagram, I'm joy.field.stitcher over there as well, and it is linked below. Everything's linked below. I link as much as I can. I usually get to where I have to delete some because I'm so full. I have my patterns. I had them in a bucket. The bucket was full. And I didn't like how it was kind of like starting to get like bins in them, because they kind of, it's hard to explain. I have previously had my charts in binders, which I didn't hate, but I also didn't love. I didn't love that my small charts in the big binder felt like it was always like not nicely. I want my binder pages to be like perfect. I don't want one to be all like squished in the middle or sliding over. I don't like that. I'm weird, okay? And the things that bug me. So I was like, okay, well, let me try it in a small binder, because I had a small binder left over from my planner sticker days when I used to keep my planner stickers in a small binder. And I realized that they will fit, but you have to take them out of the packaging, like the half sheet size. And I was like, well, I don't know how I feel about that. So I put it to a vote on Instagram. And most everybody, about 75% of people, or maybe it was like 65% of people said, no, keep them in the sleeves. Keep them in the sleeves. Well, I went with the 35% and took them all out of the sleeves. But what the whole point of this was, because I have so much time on my hands right now, I made binder covers. So this is my binder cover that I crafted. It's got like, you know, it's actually like interfaced and has coordinating lining. And so this is my binder for designers A through L. Yeah, A through L. It's half sheet charts. A through L. Then I realized that binder's not big enough. That's a 1.5 inch binder. It's not big enough for all my charts. And I didn't want my binder to be like this. I wanted my binder to be like this or smaller. So I knew I needed a second binder. Thankfully, Amazon came through, saved the day, and I got a second 1.5 inch small binder, and I'm going to need another one if I purchase any more charts, which will likely happen. And I had this fabric in my stash. I think this is a older Tula fabric or Free Spirit or something. And this houses my M through the end of the alphabet. It also has a couple of my pages from magazines, and it also has both of my cookbooks, the last 2 years cookbooks, and it has all my Plum Street in it, which also, if you checked out my Insta stories, you will see I have a problem with Plum Street charts. So I now have 2 half-size binders. I made the covers. People have asked if I would consider doing a tutorial. Maybe. One, I'm not great with the camera setup for a tutorial. Second thing is, kind of just winged these. There is no like definitive pattern. It depends on what size your binder is as to what size fabric you need to cut. And by the way, both of my 1.5 inch binders, because they were from different places, the cuts were slightly different. So see, therein lies the problem. So then I was like, well, what am I going to do with my big charts? Because, you know, that was the half-size charts. Now, what am I going to do with my full-size charts? Or my slightly larger than half-size charts? Because, yeah, there's some of those out there. And you know how irritating that is when it's like a millimeter too big for a half sheet. Yeah. So I made a big binder cover, and this is some Rifle Paper Company fabric that I think my mom bought it at Joann's or something. And this has all of my big charts. All of my big charts. And this is a big old binder. But it's pretty full. So this one's going to probably have to, well, I'm going to probably have to have a second one. But let me show you what I mean by my not quite. These collection tra-la-la, slightly larger than half sheet. So I put a piece of cardstock in there, but it still slippy slides and I don't like it. So anyway, this has all of my full-size charts, some printouts of charts. It has my memorabilias in here. They fit into the full sleeves. And then it also has any of the full sheet pages of the Nashville freebies that I got from Mystic Fabrics this year with my order. So that was a fun diversion. Like literally it diverted me away from stitching, which I'm like, why? But it was something that kept my mind busy. So I think I'll now show some stitching because we're about 15-16 minutes in and who knows how long the Maynia portion of this is going to take. So let's talk about some finishes. So I have two finishes. I'm going to show you they're both exciting. This series of projects lives in this So Much to Love bag. This is, if you've watched me for any length of time, and I don't think I've bag swapped this, it holds my Heart and Hand Square Dance series, and I was working on May, because it's finished, working on May. And I did a full color conversion to some classic Colorworks and some Weeks Dye Works. Really bright, fun colors. I do believe I shared it on Instagram, but I will share it here in the notes below. It's on an 18 count unnamed Mystic Fabrics. Somebody asked me last week what I meant by when I said one off. It means it's not a named fabric. Excuse me, it's not a named fabric, and it's one she might not be able to duplicate specifically. So it's one off. It's one of a kind of a thing. So there is May, and it is finished. And I think it's so cute. I really like how it turned out. I love my color schematic. And so yeah, on to June, which I'm excited. June is, I think, the popsicles, and I think that one's going to be cute too. I haven't decided what my colors are going to be for that, but I am going to deviate from the called for colors because that's how I roll. So that was one finish. I count each of those as a finish because they will eventually be finished completely different. They're not one whole piece. This project lived in this bag. Lived because it's finished. And this is a GaRon Tottenbags. This is the Red Truck Christmas bag that I adore. This held, or still holds currently, my Prairie Schooler Christmas tree farm. That will be coming to the D-Stash page. Just FYI, the chart. It's finished. This was stitched on 18 count Under the Sea Fabrics in Ice Princess, and I did a full wonky, crazy, totally specific to me color conversion. And I cannot share it, not because I don't want to, but because most of these colors at the time that I started this last June 13th was the start date on this, so I finished it in under a year. Considering the amount of whips I see around me, that's pretty good. Most of these were unnamed, mystery grab bags, limited editions, floss of the months, things that are not readily available anywhere. So as much as I would love to share it, I cannot. Sorry. Because I'm not stingy, it's that I really just cannot share it. So last week I asked what y'all thought about having a border versus no border. Again, it was kind of about half and half. I had probably a fair few more that said put the border in, and then less that said don't put the border in, so I didn't put the border in. I got done stitching it, and it looked exactly like I wanted it to. I didn't want to put in the dark border. Plus, there was a really good point made by one of my viewers who said framers hate that straight border because it's very hard to get it straight in framing. That made sense to me. A lot of other people said mat it right up to the edge. I will likely frame this myself just because it might go to Stitch Niche and be framed. I don't know. Nothing as of right this minute. It's going to go in my drawer of waiting until whatever happens. But anyway, enough chit chat about it. There she is. She is finished. So, the last we spoke about this, I didn't have much left to do. I literally had the night sky, the moon, and and the letters in the Tree Farm sign. So it was finished very quickly, I think this past Saturday. And I put in my initials and the year right here because I thought it kind of looked like it was the road continuing behind the sign. I didn't want it to be too obtrusive. So I know some of you are probably like, oh, you should put the border in. I love it without, and I'm perfectly content with every single thing about this piece. And it brings me so much happiness to look at it and see it complete and think about it being finished and up and just all of the creativity that went into this. And what this spawned. This piece spawned my love of color converting and doing things outside the box and working colors outside the box. And when I was working through this forest of trees, I thought, oh, this is never ending. But now I wouldn't have it any other way. I would never have stitched this the way it was called for. It's a beautiful chart. It's beautiful as called for. But this, to me, is special. And that's what I want my stitching to be, is special. And it would have been special called for, but I don't think I would have enjoyed it as much. And I don't think I would have gotten it finished in a year. I'm being honest about that. So I'm going to carefully roll this so it doesn't get all crunched. And so that was really exciting to get that finished. So then that kind of led me into the weekend, and I worked a little bit on the May section of the Linens and Threads Mystery Sampler 2020. I just came off of April, which was this behemoth, and went to, this is May. It's nowhere near as involved as this, which is great. I did go ahead and color my schematic in. I've told y'all in the past that works for my brain. I take my palette of 6 colors, I color it in to give me an idea of where everything's gonna go. I'm excited about this month. I love this motif right here. It's got a very different vibe than last month. So I don't have a ton on this yet. It is still in the Q-Snap. This has a GaRon Grime Guard. And I really just have the start of this flower up here. This is on a 32 count mystery piece of linen from Mystic Fabrics. It was part of that Stitch Your Own Adventure that she offered, but it's very close to Veterus. Maybe just not as green as Veterus. And that's what I have so far. This was January right here. And then this right here was part of February, I believe. So I'm excited to get a little bit more time put into this weekend. My palette of colors is, that should not say GAST Cadet, that's Weeks Dye Works Cadet, Gentle Arts Tropical Ocean, Gentle Arts Victorian Pink, Gentle Arts Soot, Gentle Arts Pink Azalea, and Weeks Dye Works Strawberry Fields. And I know, Weeks, what? And this one is not in the project bag it used to live in because it is huge. I don't need a 12 by 18 project bag. And that is coming to D-Stash as well. And I've seen the comments. This week has been the week from you know where. And it's been a roller coaster rocky ride. And I have seen, I promise. If you have commented on something, I've seen it. I just haven't had the capacity to process it. So my goal is this next week to buckle down, figure out who would like what off of the D-Stash. I have a bunch to add. I have some floss buddies to add. I have some project bags to add. I have some charts and fabric to add. So yeah, coming this next week. If you're interested, post notifications are great on Instagram. You go to my profile, the D-Stash page, Joyfield's D-Stash. It's linked below. Sorry, my mouth was dry. So very, very dry. And then you click, I think it's settings or something. I don't know. But then you click post notifications on. And that will tell you when I post something. And I'm telling you, that is how people snag things like that. Like I posted them within a half of a second. Like I think it's still spinning posting. And then somebody's like, me. And I'm like, wow, okay. Awesome. Okay, so then I'm still working through the 30 minutes a day on my oldest whip. This week didn't go so well. A couple of reasons behind that. One, Monday being a holiday, it was like an extended Sunday. So then I was like, okay, I'm going to kind of do my Sunday jam on Monday. Anyhow. So then Tuesday rolled around and I pulled out my, I don't even know what I stitched on Tuesday. Not much. I think I pulled out my oldest whip and stitched a bit on it. Stitched the 30 minutes. And then I went, why am I doing this one? And I'll explain that in just a second. And so I realized I really needed to go to my next oldest whip. Well, then Wednesday hit like a hurricane. Rock you like a hurricane. Anyway, we've been watching Trolls World Tour like on repeat because she asked, little one asked if we could rent it again. I said, sure. But just know that because it's $20 to rent, I expect you to watch it more than once. So we've been watching it on repeat. And so she loves that. Here I am, rock you like a hurricane. She, yeah. And then, ooh, Barracuda. And I'm kind of am jazzed about the fact that she's loving these classic rock songs. I don't know this classic rock. Is that classic rock if it's from the 80s? Probably not. Barracuda might be because it's from like the 70s. Okay, anyway, that was a total diversion off of into hairbands. So I put Wednesday, Thursday, like little to no stitching. And I don't know that I got to my next oldest whip on Wednesday. I know I didn't. Stitched on it a little bit yesterday. I've got some I want to stitch on it today. We'll see. We'll see. So basically, next week is an oldest whip do-over. And I'm going to start with my second oldest whip. But I did pull out my oldest whip once this week. And so this is my, it lives in a pouch. This is my USA travel map. This is an ongoing project. This is on 18 count Mystic Fabrics in Big Sky. And I'm doing the outline in a mystery like navy blue to dark gray from Color and Cotton. So basically what the story behind this is, I started this last June. And the story behind it is to fill in the states that we visited since Joy-Filled Little One was born and keep up with it from that point forward. So the reason why this is an ongoing project is because, yes, we've traveled some places, but this won't be a finished project until I guess she's 18 or something. I don't know. So when I pulled it out, I was like, one, not feeling stitching borders. So there's one. I didn't really want to stitch the borders, which is fine. It is what it is. So I had filled in part of New York because we went to New York City this past December. And I actually filled in part of the state when we were there. So I went ahead and finished filling that in. I think I put in a couple more of the state, some stitches into a state, maybe down here. I can't really remember where I left off. Maybe it was down here where this blue is. Duh. And so yeah. And then I realized, why am I working on this? Because this will not be finished anytime in any kind of future. Like, when do I stop this? When she's 18? Well, then we got some time. So I figured, you know what? I want to stitch on something else. Basically, I justified I wanted to stitch on something else. So I made a reason why I couldn't stitch on that. So I pulled out this one. It lives in a Diddly Daddle Designs bag. This was my next oldest whip. This one's birthday is July 1st. Could actually get finished by July 1st. And this is Plum Street Samplers Mary's sampler. And this is a freebie on her website, on her blog. It comes in two versions. There's this one that's a little less congested. Like, the other one has more stars, more stuff. It says God with us. Things are more compact. In hindsight, I wish I would have done that one because the counting from motif to motif would have been a lot more straightforward. However, I've wrapped my head around this one now. At one point, not too terribly long ago, this was a stitch or ditch. So I'm stitching this on a piece of 18 count. Okay, let me show you. I actually have a picture of the other way. So this is the other one. They're both free charts available. I'll link below. But this is the one that has everything more kind of condensed. Way more stars. It has God with us, this beautiful flower. I kind of wish I would have stitched that one, but it is what it is. Hindsight's always 20/20. I'm stitching this mostly in the called for fancy flosses. it's still in the Q-snap because, you know, do-over. So I can move it real quick. I am stitching this on an unnamed mystery dye from Mystic Fabrics. I wish she'd come back with it because it's like the perfect blue-gray. And let me, one moment please. I think that's where that goes. It's really hard to see it when you've got floss like sticking through the front of the chart. So I put in Mary and Joseph, and I started on this second angel. So that is where I got to this week in my 30 minutes, like my literal 30 minutes of stitching. I think I did a little bit more than that because I felt guilty. But it's going to get some more time this next week, some more love, maybe a finish. We shall see. It doesn't have a ton more. It's just a matter of counting to where I need to go to next. And I think I said this lives in a Diddly Daddle Designs in-hand stitcher bag. Super fun. And I'm liking the stitching on the oldest whip for some time. That's all she wrote for the stitching. So let me just say, I've fallen down a hole. Another crafting hole. And that other crafting hole is when I said, I'll never, because I tried it. And I was like, I don't like this. I don't know what possessed me. I think it truly was Danielle Stitcherista and her love of Diamond Art Club that led me to the website to see if I wanted to order something. And mind you, they don't have very much in stock right now because rightly so. I mean, they've had to shut down their production and for a bit, and then their supplies coming in for a bit and whatever. But I found one, and I think it's pretty perfect. And I've started it, and I've been working on it a little bit at a time. So this one is, I love it. It says Joy, and has a bluebird, and it's singing, and there's like notes all behind it. So here's what I have so far. I put the washi tape to tell me where I've split the clear cover. This is so fun. Look how sparkly it is. Sparkle, sparkle, sparkle. So I've fallen down the rabbit hole. I'm using my Caterpillar Cross Stitch Qualinita Minder. I'm using it as a cover minder. So anyway, I've enjoyed working on this a little bit here and there. Joyfilled Little One has a couple of little diamond paintings. So when I pull this out, she pulls hers out and kind of do it together, which is fun. I might have bought a couple of other ones. Don't need another craft. I'm going to tell you right now, she's absolutely correct. This is like velvet. It's so nice. And it is a square, and I thought, oh, square. But he says square is so hard. I love it. I love when they like click in together. Anywho, I don't want to enable anybody. So I will say it's the most terrible craft ever. It's not. It's really awesome. But don't fall down a rabbit hole like I just did. Anywho. So that was something fun, and that's a whip. Now, it's a work in progress. It's just a non-stitchy work in progress. All right, so I think what we're going to do now is I'm going to move this bucket over here because I got 23 projects to show you. And I am going to try to do them in order. So I got to go back through my notes to where I started because I actually wrote them down on what day I did them. So, okay, May 1st, I started a stitch along with Kristen Bluebonnets and Whiskey and Christine McMama Hollis of Heartstring Sampleries and the Scarlet House Berry Bowl Sampler. I'm stitching this on 2 pieces of fabric. I did go ahead and put 2 together. I'm doing 32 count Lugana in Fog and Shale from Picture This Plus. And I have done most of the center cartouche. This is over 2. This is all over 1. I adore this. And it was funny because, you know, Kristen posted this really like amazingly intricate way that she hand did her piecing of her fabrics together. No, I went like barbarian on it and just went, okay, that looks right, and did it through the sewing machine. And they miraculously lined up. I'm not sure how that happened, and I doubt I could reproduce that scenario again. So I would definitely encourage you to go see her tutorial and not do it my way, which was like, I'm a renegade and I'm just gonna go for it. Hardcore. Hardcore. Alright, so then on I gotta figure out which bag it's in. Some of these have been so long ago. I think it's in a small bag. And plus my bucket is overflowing. They all fit in here at some point, but now they just really don't. Oh, it's in this bag. I think so. This is Diddly Daddle Designs in Hand Stitcher bag. And this one holds Lizzie Kate Farm Sampler. This is one of the Flora Mix Sample snippets. So it's a real small little finish. This is on an 18 count piece, I believe, of Veterus from Mystic Fabrics. And it has not progressed any further than where it was at on my last update of this, which my last update of this would have been on that weekly update. Maybe like Friday the 8th. But it's so fun. And I've done a bit of converting on this, and I will share that eventually. I want to make sure that I like everything that I chose, and then I will share it. Okay, so then on the 3rd, I started Suffrage Act, which is Little House Needleworks. This one has a hashtag going with it, which is SWTS Suffrage, which is stitching with the sisterlies. This one I am stitching with the called for now, which is mostly, I think, all classic colorworks. And this is on a mystery grab bag piece of 18 count Aida from Mystic Fabrics. I had every intention of pulling this back out on Wednesday. It didn't happen. So this is where I am so far. So I started here with a center start on the star, worked my way up, did a bit of this border, and then started it on the words. And I will likely finish the words before moving on to anything else. So that will be fun. My goal on this is to finish it by November 3rd. Or on November 3rd. Alright, on the 4th, I started. This was a viewer selected piece. Lives in a B Crafty bags. This is Cherry Hill Stitcheries Bloom. And I'm doing a conversion on this. And this is on 25 count Lugana in granite from Be Stitch Me. Oh, I can't wait to get back to this. And I have my sheep. And I am stitching this over 2. So it's more like 12 and a half count. And I am doing this with 2 strands. And I've got really good coverage on the 25 with 2 strands. So, there was that one. I really like that. Their charts are so fun. And they're well designed. I don't want to say they're easy, but I think they are. They're very beginner friendly, but then they're fun for people who are even really super advanced. Alright, so then the 5th was Painted Wings, and this has been my one that I think is a fail. I think it's going to have to be a restart of some sort. So this lives in my So Much to Love bag that has the pretty colorful butterflies. I remind you of the chart. This is Kathy Barrick's Painted Wings. I had this one started with a selection of Mrs. Sados silks, which are now in a bad situation here. So I'll show you. This was my color palette. So really pretty. But what I was finding is this color here and this color here when stitched, even though they are far enough apart when you look at them like this, they don't really show their differences very well. So let me show you what I have. This on a piece of 32 count. I think this is Mystic. It's very similar to Like Picture This plus Oaken. This is what I have so far. This is supposed to be like a really pretty little flower motif. You really can't see it very well. You can see it actually a little bit better, but in real life it's terrible. So I actually was stitching this with 1 strand. So what I did the other night is I went back through and I started stitching over this with an additional, just doing 1 more strand on the top leg. And then I started in on this and I realized I couldn't tell if I was stitching over the right stitches or not. So then I was having to pull back out my chart. So I think as much as this chart means to me and as much as I want to stitch on this, I think I'm going to have to frog it out and restart. I even, when I was going to pull it back out and figure out what I was going to do, on Thursday night, I went in, I pulled 2 other colors of Mrs. Sados. I'm not sure about this one. And I hesitate to put any more into it until I'm sure. So this is I'm considering it a Maynia fail. I'm considering it a pause, time out, until I figure out what I want to do with it. And it's not to stitch at the call for, I don't think. So yeah, that one was kind of a tough pill to swallow this week. Sad. All right, so then on the 6th, I started. This lives in a project bag of mine. Tresa Kogut Prairie. First but not last Tresa Kogut. And this is on a 28 count Lugana. I think this is like an ash rose. I purchased it off of Seller on Stash Unload, and they did not have a name associated. But it reminds me a little bit of my 25 count ash rose Lugana. So that is what I have so far. So this is her nose and her lips. And I can't wait to do more on this too. Yay. Okay, let me write something down because I want to not forget this. Because that reminded me of something that stash-wise I'd have to show you off my phone. Okay, so then on the 7th, I started Spring Dance. This lives in my GaRon tote bag. This was the May bag of the month. And this holds Modern Folk Embroidery Spring Dance. So fun. I love the girls holding like their vines. And this one is being stitched. What is that? Oh. This one's being stitched on a piece of 18 count Mummy Aida from Bestitch Me. And I'm stitching it in this beautiful blue from Silks for You. This is PR052, I believe. And I will link that below. And let me think about which way this goes. Oh, it goes like that, I think. No, like that. Yeah. I did a center start. And I'm working my way around in like concentric circles. So what my goal is, because they give you 1/4 of the chart and then you're supposed to rotate it. I will be doing the whole center square, and then I will stitch a girl, then the flowers, then the girls, and then I haven't decided yet, but I know that I am not stitching this furthest outside blockier border. This flowery one will be my exterior, my outside border. And I totally was holding that upside down, but because it is the same, going every which way, it doesn't matter. So, love that. Such a beautiful pattern. And I have some other ones of Modern Folk Embroidery that are on my list at some point. Right, then the 8th brought a start on Hedgehog House, which is a chart from the Punch Needle Primitive Stitcher Magazine Spring Edition. And this is from Lindy Stitches. And it's not a great copy, but it's a cute, super cute, smaller chart. I am stitching this on a piece of, and I always do this because it's actually on the back of this paper, 25 count vintage smoky white Lugana. I am stitching it over 2, so again it'd be like a 12.5 count. That is what I have so far. I think it's adorable. And I am stitching this in a very extra conversion to all color and cotton flosses. So yes, very excited about this one. This one is, doesn't have much more to go for a finish. So I may pull this out this weekend. We'll see. We'll see. Although I'm kind of thinking, I was watching Sammy J Stitches talk through some of her finishing ideas and stuff like that, and she was talking about how she's going to finish that stitch December again. I have to decide if I want to hold some of these that are really close to a finish and participate and finish that stitch December. I don't know. Not sure about that. All right, so that was the end of that week. So now let me go to my next page. And on the 9th, I started on Reflect Blessings. This lives in a bag of mine. And this is a chart from Hands On Design, and this is Present Blessings, not Reflect Blessings, sorry, Present Blessings. Hands-on design. This is on a mystery die from Mystic Fabrics, and I am doing a bit of a conversion because I did not have the DMC, shockingly enough. And so this is what I have. I have your present and the beginning of Reflect. So I love the message on it. I love that this comes with the finishing fabric and the little buttons. It has a post-it on the back of who this is getting passed to next. So yeah, I'm enjoying that one. I need to get back to it. So that brings us to the 10th, which is Smallest Seed, and it is in my smallest project bag, and this is a small one I did with some Tula Pink. I only had like this much fabric, but it's perfect because it's a small little chart. This is another one from Hands-On Design, and it's Smallest Seed. This is on another piece of that same mystery piece from Mystic Fabrics 18 count. And I have a bit more of this. I have, Rooted Firm, and then some of the motif from the center. So yeah, just a bit, just a bit. Okay, moving on. The 11th brought Liberty Lane, which is in one of my most favorite project bags I sewed, which is my patriotic one. Love gingham, love polka dots, love the lace, all the things. So this is Country Cottage Needleworks Liberty Lane. I am doing this in Priscilla's conversion and on 18 count Vintage Country Mocha, Aida. And I have the centermost house. And I am doing this 2 strands over the one. It's a little bit chunky, but it's okay. I think it'll be all right in the end. And this is my color palette for the most part. Okay. All right, we are on to the 12th. Wizard of Oz lives in my Wizard of Oz bag. And this is a chart by The Little Stitcher, or on Etsy, and again, I will link it below. I'm stitching this in the called for DMC on this 32 count Lugana in Barn Board Check. I purchased this off of a seller on Stash Unload, but I have seen it in both this natural color as well as the gray on Fat Quarter Shop. And so I have half of the border and the Tin Man. I did do a center start, so I've worked, it will go that far the other way. So this is the whole piece. So yeah, I'm excited about that. Yay! I can't wait to get back. This is the perfect project for that fabric. I love that fabric. Okay, so then the 13th brought me a little bit of Plum Street, and that is Jack's Sweet Shop Shepherd's Pie. This lives in a project pouch of mine, and I am stitching this on 36 count Vintage Maple Sugar Linen from Lakeside Linens. And I have a sheep, a large woolly bully sheep. So cute. I enjoyed stitching that a lot. I like my sheep. I like my squirrels too. Don't worry, squirrels will make a return sooner rather than later. All right, so then went to Cherish All Things, All Living Things, which is Lizzie Kate. Cherish All Living Things. This is one has a bit of a backstory, so you're welcome to go watch the backstory. I'm not going to, with the length of this video, share that once more. Just has a story. That's all. And this is on a piece of, I don't know what. Did I put it anywhere? I don't know. I think it's a mystery mystic fabric. And that's what I have so far. So, excited to spend some more time in that. I keep saying it, but it's the truth. I promise. I'm excited about all of these. I'm really bummed about Painted Wings. I'm not going to lie. I'm bummed that it didn't turn out the way I wanted it to turn out. But that happens, and I wish people would understand, because I know that a lot of folks come to me and they're like, help me color convert, help me do this, help me do that. Well, one, it's really hard to color convert. I will continue to help anybody that reaches out to me because I enjoy it so much. But know that it's really hard to color convert when you're not in person. And I've had a couple of folks ask if I would do a video on color converting. That would be a train wreck. And let me tell you why. Because this is me color converting. Okay, no, color and cotton. Oh no, maybe over here, GAST. I don't know how I would film that. I would literally have to film my whole craft room, because I literally pull fabrics from here, pull flosses from here, pull flosses from here, pull flosses from here. Like, it's a whirlwind. So I don't think that's going to happen. I would love to do a floss tour at some point, but I can't do, I don't think, a conversion video. Stitch and Mommy has a great conversion video, but her things are all bobbinated and super organized in little boxes, and that was easy for her to pull them all out. I have whole drawer units full of Victorian motto. Anywho, I love the color converting thing, but it doesn't always work out. Painted Wings is a prime example. It looked great until it was, in theory, getting stitched. That doesn't happen to me very often, but it happened with that, and now I feel discombobulated about it. Anyway, it happens to all of us. Alright, so then on the 15th, I started Quaker de la Ferme, which lives in this So Much to Love bag. Love the red gingham. And this is Jardin Privé, Quaker de la Ferme. I love it. This lives on an 18 count. This lives on. This on an 18 count earthen by Picture This Plus. It's one of my most favorite neutrals. And I am stitching this in Color and Cotton Adobe. And that is my start. And I need to spend some more time with this. Monochrome is an enjoyable stitch. That is what I will say about that. And I have some more monochrome in the future. Alright, so then, we get to turn another page. We're trucking along here. Then on the 16th, I started Farm Life. That lives in the Stars Hollow Stitchery bag. This is a linen, this linens and threads. This is Little House Needleworks Farm Life. I'm stitching this mostly in the called for. I have a couple substitutions, and this is on 18 count Picture This Plus Heartland. And I have a bit of a start here in the center with the carrot wagon and the little carrots. So I need to get some more into this, so it'll make me feel a little better about it, because it's a pretty big project. I mean, it's not huge. Like, in the grand scheme of things, it's not really that big, but it's pretty big. It's pretty big. Okie dokie. Trucking right along. On the 17th, brought a start on Garden Club, and I actually pulled this one back out yesterday because my BFF, my other BFF, Erin, 2 Martini Stitcher, she spun it. I am doing 6 of the charts together on one piece. I am currently working on Basket of Cherries, which is Garden Club Series 1 by Blackbird Designs. This is on 18 count Spectre, S-P-E-C-T-R-E, by Color and Cotton, and I am stitching this in all kinds of, some of the original, some converted. It's mine. It's all mine. So this is where I've gotten to so far. Love it! So I stitched all of these cherry innards and cherry outers. So yeah, I love it. And this fabric, you can kind of tell, is like a purpley gray. It's really pretty. So, oh, and this one lives in a project bag from a seller I have found on either Stash Unloading or Stash Unload. Her name is Shirley, and she has really pretty quilted project bags. So I was happy to pull that out and stitch along kind of with Erin for her start yesterday. Or was it today? I'm not sure. And then on the 18th, I started Blessed is the Life. That in this one? Yes. This lives in a So Much to Love project bag. I think this was one of the bags of the month. And this one is Little House Needleworks, Blessed is the Life. I am doing a full conversion on this. I will say I will link to the Google Doc that has all of my Maynia information, as well as the conversion for this. Okay? And this is on an 18 count piece from Oksana. She's a seller on Stash Unloading. I link to that group below as well. Don't ask me how you get into it, because I know that some of you have really struggled with getting into it. Just make sure if there's questions, you answer the questions. And then if you're still struggling to get in, reach out to one of the admin that's listed. And so that's what I have so far. And I am doing a lot of converting on this. This is me, and then the little girl on the other, or the girl on the other side will be my daughter. So that one will be in a pink dress with blonde hair. So I got some more into that after I showed it, but not, I think I showed it in my weekly update last week with all of that progress. All right, then, oh, it's on the floor. Another one of those really pretty quilted bags. This holds my All Joys for Thine. And I did put some more into this. I am stitching this on the called for Heartland in 18 count and with the called for flosses. And so that is what I have done so far. So this whole flower is done. It had like 6 different colors. It was really cool to see it kind of come to life and get that dimension. And then I worked on the stem and the leaves a bit. So I can't wait to get some more into that. That's a reoccurring theme. I can't wait to work some more on that. I can't wait to work some more on that. But I will tell you, a lot of my other projects that I've had long before this, I can't wait to work on those too. I'm feeling a little overwhelmed by it. I'm not going to lie. It was fun to do all this, but now I'm like, what did I get myself into? Now I have too much to pick from. Yeah. Okay, the 20th brought Noah's Ark Mantel. I think it lives in this bag. I'm fairly certain it does. Yep, it does. This is a bag by me. This is Bent Creek's the Noah's Ark Mantel. And I am working over here. And I don't think I put any more into this after we saw it last. And I believe this is on a 16 count Aida from Misty at Mystic Fabrics. I have my monkeys and my turkey. And I've got to try to figure out what I'm going to do about those monkey eyes, because they're done in French knots, and I'm not good at French knots or colonial knots. I know somebody recommended those to me. I'm not good at those either. And I don't know that I want beads. So can they be eyeless? Maybe? I don't know. Eyeless monkeys. Is that creepy? I wish you could see this pile. So the arm of my chair is like here. The pile is nearly to the top of the arm of the chair. That's terrifying. All right, so then only got a couple more to show. I started Love Builds a Happy Home. This lives in a Stars Hollow stitchery bag, which is super cute. You'll notice this one is bulkier. That's because it's still on the Q-snap. I was working on that today. This is Tiny Modernist. Love Builds a Happy Home. It was a new Nashville chart. I am stitching this in the called for really super bright DMCs. What I started doing this week when I finally got my head wrapped around things was I started just spinning projects on my Maynia wheel and stitching on it if it came up. And so this one came up. And so I've been working on this pink outline. So then all I have to do is just fill that in with the hot pink from the house. So I'm going to work on this tonight or tomorrow. I don't know yet. But it's kind of mindless, you know, just like that fill in is really nice. Okay. Then we had on the 22nd, you know, where is that? Oh, you know what I didn't show was actually my start from last Saturday. Technically that was a start. Okay. We're going to talk about it in Mania. Whatever. Okay. So then after that was So Much Love bag. This is Barbara Anna Designs, All Creatures Great and Small. Another big Mama Jama project. This is on a big piece of 18 count from Oksana, from the seller. Oh my gosh, this thing's gonna be big. Not as big as Consider the Lilies. When I pulled that fabric out, I kind of had a little heart palpitation. I was like, oh, half yard's a lot of fabric. And I'm gonna be pushing it on my margins even at that. Okay, so, still what I showed last week, just the half of the wreath and some of the house. So I need to get some more into that. I need to get some more into all of these, but I do feel a lot better about the quantity of stitches in these as opposed to the quantity of stitches in like the things I started in October and December, where I only like pushed myself for 100. A lot of these I got well over that. All right, so then my start from last Saturday that I didn't actually show, I just showed the stuff of it, lives in this bag. I sewed this one up as well. This is a freebie chart. I know everybody has been asking where to find it. It came in a package from somebody, and I think it was a market freebie for shops that shopped market. So I don't know. But this is from Heartstring Samplery, and this is Exceedingly Grateful. And I am stitching this on 36 count Cecil by Seraphim Fabrics, and I am stitching it in a palette of 4 color and cotton. And I got a fair bit of a start on this, my friends. I did the urn and all the vines, and then I started on the skunk. Oh, I love it. And this will make an appearance. This darkish color is going to make an appearance here in a minute in stash, because I might have bought 6 more skeins of it, because it is now my newest favorite blackish black. So my skunks are like flower from Bambi, I say, because they're going to have little flowers in their hair. Oh my gosh, I'm enjoying it. And this linen is insanely gorgeous. And I know Seraphim, I think I have heard, has been taking a bit of a break right now because of COVID and everything. So if you can't get it, I got mine at Fire Poppies is where I got that. And I just got an 1/8. And I think that that's a half an 1/8. So that's like a 16th. So yeah. Okay, so let's see where we are in here. We talked about FOs and FFOs. We talked about starts. We talked about my whips. We talked about Mania recap. We did the giveaway. Okay, so plans. June is coming on Monday. As far as I know, I am going to be doing Enchanted Stitching. It is Monsters Inc. this month. I'm going to be trying to work through whips. I'm going to still hold strong to my 30 minutes of stitching or more, like 30 minutes to an hour of stitching on my oldest whip, and then working through some of my other whips, getting these Mania ones in rotation, getting some of my other old ones. Honestly, I don't really think beyond Mary's Sampler I have another start in my whip list until September or October. But then it's like a downhill slide into chaos, because it was like I started something every other day in October, and then December was nonsense. I have UFO'd a few things. I've unkitted some things. I really took a long, hard look at everything I had kind of midway through Mania. I didn't do that live. I just did that for myself. I've kind of gotten everything. Tomorrow, this weekend, I've got to get all my whips organized in some semblance of order. I moved things around to different project bags. Now I can't find them. I'm a hot mess. I can't get my mind straight. I can't get my list straight. I can't get it figured all out. Anyway, so working through whips, things like that. And then looking ahead to July, I am going to do Jolly Whip You Lie, which is working through all of my holiday whips. Which, if Mary's Sampler is not finished, will be at the top of that list to finish. And I think what might end up doing is I'm going to spin them and work on them until they're finished. I think. Because most of my Christmas ones, now that Prairie School or Christmas Tree Farm is done, most of them are like ornaments or smaller. I talked about diamond paint, talked about covers. We've got one thing left on our agenda. And it's down on the floor today. Not because I don't love it. It's just down on the floor. And it's not very full. It's joy-filled stashy stash time. Joy-filled stashy stash time. So, first thing, I found this chart on one of the stash pages. I had not seen it. It is readily available on the Hands-On Design. I thought it was cute. It's Stitching is My Heart's Desire. I'd like to have some more of the stitching themed pieces, and so I thought this was cute. And it calls for 4 colors of DMC. It's my kind of chart. And it's on Flax Casual. So I'll pull something from stash. I'd likely have those 4 colors or something close. So this will be an easy one to kit, and it's super cute. So I thought that was adorable. My L&S put up a thing that they were going to have some of the Brenda Gervais Project Quarantine Stay Home and Stitch charts, and so I reached out to them and they shipped it to my house. This is a beautiful chart. It's on like glossy cardstock, and then I'm not going to show you the inside, but it's a full color chart. And it has this chart, but then it also has this as a enlarged to see it, because as far as I know, this is 1/1 in this center. So this will get started soon. I know I said no more starts, but I want to start this one because we're not really under quarantine, but our family is personally choosing to still stay home as often as humanly possible. I think I've only been to the store a few times, and it's like the grocery store, and I go to the smallest grocery store and wear my mask and stay as far away from people as possible. Okay. Dying for Cross Stitch is a group on Facebook, Kathy Davidson. She does Fabric of the Month, and hers is set up a little bit different. She posts it around about the 1st of the month, and then you say what cut you would like, what size, and what count. And then this past month, she started doing re-dyes of any of her cotton flosses that sold out and that like people wanted 100 yards worth. So, thought that was kind of cool. So, I did go ahead and get her May Fabric of the Month, which is an 18 count Aida fat quarter. It's not named. It's just a really pretty lavender. And then I did go ahead and claim, these are 50 yard skeins. So, this is 100 yards of Phoenix Rising, which I thought was gorgeous and would be beautiful for like a long dog or a modern folk embroidery. So, I got those. Just wait. Just wait, because I about died. This is Unicorn. Shut up! It's awesome. Look at that. Turquoise into pink into purple. If that is not like my daughter in a floss. Totally. Totally, totally, totally. Her quality is fantastic. She had some kind of crazy, insane amount of flosses ordered. Like, she was like, if I get 100, I'll dye it. Like, no, we're talking there. I think she dyed like 2,500 yards of floss. So if you are not following her Facebook group, it'll be linked below in the stash portion. Okay, I did a bit of an order through Color and Cotton, and I'm going to tell you, I ordered this like Wednesday maybe, or Thursday? No, Wednesday. Tuesday or Wednesday. I think it was Wednesday night. Shipped like the next day, because her flosses go through a different process, obviously, than her fabrics do. I did place the fabric order. That'll be a while. Anywho, I ordered 6 skeins of typewriter, because it's now my new favorite. This one came in a floss of the month, and I adore it. And I have an idea for actually a chart to use this in that's a monogram. I saw this one was still available because they're still restocking everything, so give them patience. There are some available. Typewriter was still available. Some of the other floss of the month ones were available. This was one, I think it might have been a floss of the month. It didn't come in mine, but it's poppy, and I have an idea for this, so I got 4 skeins of that. This was another one I think that was floss of the month that I did not get, that's called Lullaby, and it's a really pretty like mid-toned blue to lilac. It's really pretty. And then, hold on. Because floss can't travel by itself. I can't just order one thing of typewriter. No, I gotta buy some other ones. So then I grabbed, I got sweet potato, and I think it's gonna be a great one to sub in. So I grabbed a second one of that. These were also, I think, 2 that were from Floss of the Month that I did not get, which are Spanish Moss and Willow. Again, perfect to sub in on charts. And then I have an idea for this floss, so I got 4 of them, which should be enough. And this is Sapphire, which is beautiful also. So, some of these are going to go into project bags with charts, and some of them are just going into my inventory. All right, then, and this is the last thing. Bee Stitch Me, I had talked previously that I did a custom order for her dirty chalkboard, which now I'm obsessed with. I actually did a half yard, and I'm happy I did. It's 18 count. But I'm going to use this for some of the pieces that are meant to be stitched over black on black. But this is her dirty chalkboard. That's insane. It's perfect. It's so good. And so I got a half yard of this in 18 count. That came today. I was excited. And then I said I wasn't going to participate in Friday Night Fight Night, but then I did. Couldn't hold off. So what I got is, this is Through the Stones, which I have in linen. This is a 27 count Linda. It's like Lugana, but it's Linda. Linda Lugana. And it's so pretty. It's so pretty. It's reading way more gray, but it's got some good green in it too. And then I think it was Christy goes, what are you doing over here on the 40 count? Because I've lost my mind. But the fabric of the month was Coffee Club, and when I saw that she had this beautiful 40 count, I lost my marbles and bought it. Anyway, we'll see how stitching on this very dark 40 count goes. I have an idea. Steph, would you like some of this? Because I have a fat quarter and I don't know that I need it all. But just fair warning that you might become addicted to Be Stitch Me fabric. Okay, and then because she's amazing, she does giveaways every week. Like every week. Does like close to 15 fabric giveaways and close to like 15 chart giveaways. Like, and that's included in memorabilia. You know, the only thing is, in order to participate, you have to have purchased something. I won one. And I won this really pretty piece of 32 count Jobelin. I've never stitched on Jobelin. And so that's kind of cool that I won it and I can try. It's a really pretty color. So yeah, that was fun. So anybody else feel like I was a little bit out of it? Because I'm now reflecting back on this video while it's still going on. And I don't know that I've been my normal self. And so for that, if you look to me to be all like, I don't think that's going to happen until after Tuesday. And here's the reason why. Long story short, my husband, y'all know, went back to work on the 11th of May. On the 13th of May, after 2 days of working, he does manual factory work, 8 hours in a mask. He went into work on the Wednesday, the 13th. And they take them through these thermal scanners, and then they ask them, like, how are you feeling? You know, like all this stuff. His temp's great. I think it was like 97.2 or something like that, or even maybe lower than that. And they said, how are you doing? He said, well, I just have a question for you. What can wearing a mask for like 8 hours while working give you kind of a scratchy throat? And they go, a scratchy throat? Go to medical. Like, they have a full medical clinic on site. And so he went to medical, and they immediately had him fill out like this questionnaire. And the questionnaire said, do you have a fever, yes or no? Well, he didn't have a fever. And then it said something about check any things you're feeling right now. Well, so he put they put scratchy throat because he had said it. And then he put body aches. Which now he goes, I'm dumb. He goes, I put body aches because I'm 46 years old. Yes, he just had his birthday this past Monday, and he's 46 years old. I'm 46 years old, and I've been at home for 7 weeks, and I had been at work for 2 days in a mask. And so he tried to rectify the situation and say, no, I don't mean that kind of body aches. Like, my body hurts because I'm old and I'm out of shape. But they were like, no, you checked it. I'm sorry, we can't, whatever, Do you want a test? A scratch your brain test right now, or do you want to get it on your own? So they gave him a scratch your brain test, and he said it was like, he felt like it was touching his soul. I was like, I'm sorry, that really sucks. And they sent him home, and they said, you cannot come back until you get the results back of your test. So nearly 2 weeks passed by, because that was Wednesday the 13th. So Tuesday, this Tuesday, he got a phone call at about 4:30, and he sent me a text because I happened to be over at my parents visiting, doing a puzzle or something, that he was going back to work the next day, Wednesday. I didn't sleep Tuesday night. Like, I was up at midnight still. Got a terrible night's rest. Wednesday was I mean, we're gonna be honest. I didn't have a panic attack, but I have an anxiety attack. Like, I literally at one point was like, we have to go for a walk. We have to go for a walk. I did what I needed to do medically to, like, keep myself whatever. But by about some point that afternoon, I crashed. I, like, literally fell asleep. And when I woke up, I was feeling a lot better, still having some anxiety. But what I noticed was I was having this nagging pain here in my right side. And it was kind of just every now and again, I would feel like pressure, pinch, pain, whatever. And it didn't really want to go away. And I thought, okay, well, that's not anxiety. Because I do sometimes get some pinching or whatever when I'm having my anxiety stuff. Mind you, I shielded Joy-Filled Little One from most of this. So, needless to say, Thursday, he called his committeemen, union committeemen, and said, I can't come in until Monday. My family's not ready. And they were like, we totally get it. We'll approve your vacation, because normally you have to put in vacation 2 weeks in advance. They approved him some vacation time, so he's on vacation time until Monday. Which then my point was, well, so I have to go through this again on Monday? And he's like, no, you're going to be more okay about it, and it's going to be better, because he's really being protective of our family. I really do feel like he's doing everything he can. It's just a matter of, is everybody else doing what they can? So, this nagging pain has not gone away. And, you know, of course, I've gone to Dr. Google and it says I'm dying. I'm not. I know that. But I do truly believe it could be my gallbladder. Which is interesting, because I've watched Teresa Kitten Stitcher, who talked about her gallbladder situation. I've watched Michelle G, who's talked about her gallbladder. Beth Twist is doing a charity chart about gallbladder through kittenstitcher.com, which possibly I might be buying that, because I go for an ultrasound on Tuesday. Because I did a video chat with my doctor yesterday, let her know what was going on. She says, ooh, sounds like it could be gallbladder, and you could have to have it out. But we're going to send you for an ultrasound. Like, don't be all panicky about it. It's no reason to. But I will tell you the thing that I have found. And so Monday and Tuesday are going to be really tough for me. Really tough. Sunday's going to probably be tough too. Looking forward to Monday. But this is our life, and I need to find a way to cope with it. So, I found some things that are helping. One, getting out and walking again. I kind of started to neglect it when I was really focused on doing all those daily Zooms. Well, now the daily Zooms are gone, so the walking's happening. So we go early before it gets too hot, and it's good for Joy-Filled Little One to get out and do something active. I've been doing some great yoga videos here on YouTube. If you are not familiar with Yoga with Adrienne, I will link her channel below. She has, or I may actually link, she has a great playlist that's great for anxiety and stress and depression and things like that. It's a whole playlist of practices, yoga practices. I've done yoga often in the past, but again, it's something I have neglected, and I've forgotten how it really does affect me in such a positive way. So I'm going to link that below in case, one, you just want to do some awesome yoga with somebody. She's got playlists for everything. So I'll link her channel and that specific playlist. But I want to just share real quick, and this is coming from a very heartfelt place. This is not, I don't want you to think I'm being trite, but your comments, your relationship building with me, both here and over on Instagram, or even through email, or through, I have a few people that have followed me on Facebook. I will say I don't post anything stitchy related on Facebook. I'm only in Facebook groups. My Facebook is for my personal. So if I don't approve your friend request, it's just because that I don't typically. So find me on Instagram, find me on here. But those relationships, those check-ins, those letting me know how you're doing, me being able to let you know how I'm doing, have been amazing. Amazing. The comments, I continue to go back and reread them. This week, I did not have the mind space to respond to them. And so for that, I am truly apologetic. I really, try to respond thoughtfully and earnestly to each of them, but this week it just didn't happen. I've cried more this week. I'm going to start getting weepy right now. I've cried more this week, but I think I needed that. I think that some folks like myself tend to keep everything inside and show this one thing to the world, but while the inside is crumbling. And so you're seeing a little bit more of me at not my peak of woo, woo, woo. And that's okay, because I'm being genuine. And most of you say you appreciate the genuine. If this video hits you in a way that you're not comfortable, feel free to skip it. My hope is that next week I'm back and I can be more vivacious and more woo-woo about things. I needed to film this video for me. I did not realize what the shift, it can take just the smallest thing. Shifting from doing 3 Zoom calls every day, as much as I was like, oh, I'm over all this screen time. But now I feel adrift. And I think that that's what's been hard, is each time there's been a change, I've had to reestablish some kind of routine. And waking up in the morning without some guiding purpose, you know, it used to be I had to get up and get moving towards work, get little one ready for school, you know, all of that. Waking up for, oh gosh, are we close to 3 months now? I don't know. But it's pretty close to 3 months with no distinct guiding purpose. Granted, when we were doing school, that was the first thing we did. Is that Joy-Filled Little One practically got right on her Chromebook and started school. I think that I never gave myself a chance to dwell. Well, guess what? I had plenty of time to dwell this week because school ended. And so, yeah. I think it all just piled on. Like I've talked about before. When your drawers get full and you just have to empty them. I just had to empty them. And so for me, I needed to, as much as this video is probably not my norm, I needed to film this video for myself. And if anything that I've said or shared has resonated with you, please know I'm here. I mean, let's commiserate together during this very interesting time that we're in right now. My husband is perfectly fine. His test came back negative. I knew from when he was sent home, he didn't feel badly. He just had a scratchy throat from wearing a mask for 16 hours over the course of 2 days, which makes me a little bit about wearing one in the fall for school. I'm not sure what that's going to look like. I'm not sure that our administrators know what that's going to look like. I'm not sure if anybody knows what anything's going to look like even tomorrow. I think we are all flying by the seat of our pants. I think some of our people out making the decisions are doing their very best. And they can't win for trying. That's what my grandmother used to say. You can't win for trying. Means they're trying to do the best, but they're gonna make somebody upset. And so we're just trying to get by. I'm trying to give Joy-Filled Little One more opportunities to be out of the house, even if it's as simple as I did a Target drive-up order for protein bars. Instead of going to the grocery store and going inside and getting them, I did a drive-up order, and that way she could ride in the car. And then when we pull up for drive-up, I let her get out of her seatbelt and, you know, move around the car or whatever. And getting to the park. It's going to be harder and harder because it starts to get hotter and hotter. I am hopeful. I am prayerful. We still have no swim earplugs, which means I get to now text the lady who does our swim lessons and tell her that we have to postpone another week. And she just wants to go to the pool. That sucks. Being 8 during this time sucks. She wants to see her friends. She says, I just miss my friends. I just want to see them. Like, it's not this. She even gets it's not the same on a screen. She said to me today, she goes, I just really want to see him in person. I don't want to see him on screen. Oh, and just FYI, the drive-through parade was amazing. It was so what we needed as staff. It is so our families needed, our students needed, my own daughter needed it. It was fantastic. I kind of hope it becomes a yearly tradition. I don't think that this should be something that we do only because we were under stay-at-home orders. That's what I think about it. So, with that being said, and now I've kind of gone off on my personal tangent, I appreciate each of you who have made it to this point, or even if you don't make it to this point, you won't see this part. But I want to thank everybody who sticks around week to week, who has ridden this roller coaster of highs and lows over the last year plus. I will say I am like on the precipice of 2K, and I am collecting things because I want to reward and thank and praise and lift up those of you who hang around with me each week. And so I've got some cool stuff in store for that when we hit the 2K. And GG Stitches, reach out to me so that I can get you that chart and those flosses. And with that, I think we're done. I think we've reached the end of this train. I think we've reached the end of number 54, an hour and 25 minutes later. So with that, actually I feel pretty proud of that considering I showed 23 Maynias starts. So I'm going to give myself a round of applause. With that, I will bid you a wonderful week ahead. Happy stitching. If you have the time, the wherewithal, just send some positive thoughts my way for Monday and for Tuesday, and hopefully I will have good news on the pains and the whatever that may be. So, with that, I will bid you so long, stitch well. I'll see you soon, my friends. Goodbye. Goodbye.